If you have been out in public for any amount of time during the month of December, you have probably heard that Amy Grant song that goes something like, "No more lives torn apart." If you don't know the song I'm talking about, I will link it in the description below. I'm author Gwen Elise Clayton, and I have that song stuck in my head. I used to be a huge Amy Grant fan. I had all of her records. I even went to see her at Lawler Event Center in Reno back in 1986. And her husband at the time, Gary Chapman, played guitar in her band, and he even took a few moments to sing a song about her on stage. Went something like, "Amy is the one, blah, blah, blah." I don't remember what it was, but it was all about how wonderful Amy was. And I was absolutely crushed when she had that affair with Vince Gill. Vince Gill. She had an affair with Vince Gill. Now, if a Christian singer like Amy Grant can cheat on her husband, oh my God, that's just as bad as John F. Kennedy cheating on Jacqueline. It's like, oh my God, what hope do I have? So anyhow, my faith was crushed, and I'm not an Amy Grant fan anymore, but they play that song on constant repeat. Even before Thanksgiving ends, you hear it. So I have it stuck in my head, and now I'm wondering, what does that even mean? Like, if she gets her Christmas wish, the lyrics of this song, what does success look like? Let's break it down. No more lives torn apart. What can we as individuals do to prevent lives from falling apart? Can we do it through legislation? Can we do it through our individual acts, random acts of kindness? That would be great. Being mindful consumers, like where did I get this necklace? Where did it come from? Where did this come from? You know, if you buy something, think about what you're buying, who you bought it from, stuff like that. And for the love of God, please stop giving your eyeballs to junk news like the stuff about Kyle Rittenhouse and Jussie Smollett. I don't mean to diminish Kyle or Jussie. It's just, why are we obsessing over this? Really, why? I don't get it. And then really important things that we should be discussing, we should be posting on Facebook, things that should be going viral, they get completely overlooked or flat out dismissed. But please, let's all become armchair attorneys and talk about Kyle Rittenhouse and Jussie Smollett, two people I really don't care about. The next lyric is that wars would never start. Well, stop making war profitable, for one thing. And can we please get a United States president who has combat experience? My God, we were in Afghanistan for 20 years, and we haven't had a president with combat experience since George Herbert Walker Bush, who died a few years ago. He served in World War II. We have no Korean War vets, no Vietnam War vets. What else? We've had Iraq, Afghanistan, Persian Gulf, I don't even know them all. I don't even know all of the conflicts that we've had. If you are a veteran, please, I encourage you, get into politics. The last president to serve in the military was George W. Bush, also known as Bush 43. But his daddy was the last one to actually see combat, and that was World War II. And time would heal all hearts. Time doesn't heal hearts, but you know it does? Things going right. Take, for example, the military veterans, since that just seems to be a good theme for today. We're going to go with it. I am a military spouse. My husband served for 32 years. He did 20 years active duty and 12 years reserve component. He did 4 years Marine Corps, and what is the rest of that? 28 years Army. That was it. And he did like 3 months in the Air Force, but he doesn't really claim that too much. When a veteran separates from the military and they go to the Department of Veteran Affairs and they have to get a disability rating, and they get poked and prodded and test and test and test and test. It can take months or even years to get an appointment to begin with. And they have to stay on top of their own case, because the turnover rate in both administration and for medical providers in the VA is outrageous. It's incumbent on the veterans themselves to stay on top of having all of their paperwork together, all of their medical history, everything that could be service connected. They have to prove that a certain ailment is connected to their combat. Otherwise, they don't get to claim it for their disability. And they're going up against these administrators whose sole job is to deny their claim. They are poking and prodding and looking for holes in the story and treating these people like who were just a few months ago, they were heroes. Everybody loved them. Support our troops. Got my bumper sticker, got my little flag that was made in China. I wave it every Veterans Day. But when it comes down to doing what actually needs to get done to help these people, it's like a game of chutes and ladders, and nobody's talking to each other. Everything is siloed and nothing is integrated. It's horrible. And when the vet does finally get a rating, it is so low, it's an insult. It's like, hello, I just spent a year under mortar fire, and you couldn't care less. You couldn't care less. It's horrible. They don't take into effect all of the physical and psychological wounds of war. Social Security disability insurance is just as bad, which I talked about in my video, How the Grinch Stole My SSDI. But today I want to focus on veterans. This country has bred a culture of non-responsiveness. We socialize risk for the finance industry, your hedge fund managers, your private equity firms, CEOs that get paid with stock share buybacks and stuff like that. I read this book. It's really interesting. It's called Makers and Takers. It's called Makers and Takers. Can you see that? How Wall Street Destroyed Main Street. But it's by Raina Forruhar, Financial Times business columnist and CNN global economic analyst. She goes into detail all about what is wrong with our capitalist system. And as I've said before, the invisible hand that Adam Smith talked about, it's been amputated. We have policies. It isn't just about the tax rate. When we talk about taxing the rich, we think we're going to increase the tax rate. There are so many policies that have been created that make it easy for people who have money to continue making money, and they make more money and more money and more money. They can place it in non-taxable areas, or there's different ways to move their money around so they don't have to pay as much in taxes. So we really need to close those loopholes, and we need to get that tax money coming in. We need to find a solution to that, because right now we have socialized risk but capitalized returns. The taxpayers are the ones who are funding research and development for Pfizer, and yet Pfizer is making all of this money off of the government for their COVID vaccine. Tell me that's not messed up. So what we need is a world that isn't so messed up. Interesting fact, more than 30,000 active duty personnel and veterans of the post 9/11 wars have died by suicide, which is 4 times the amount of service members killed in action during post 9/11 war operations. And there's a reason for that, and it isn't just because, they had PTSD. Yeah, PTSD is a thing. It's a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing, but it isn't the only thing. Traumatic brain injury is not the only thing. Depression depression wouldn't be so bad, and PTSD wouldn't be so bad, and anxiety wouldn't be so bad if we had a system that took care of people. Because we can't have a functional society. We can't have liberty. We can't have freedom if we don't have safety nets. So we need to take care of these people. And we need to make sure that when they come back from war, they are taken care of. Not this ridiculous, messed up system that we have now. A blogger by the name of Christine Miserandino, and I think I just butchered her name probably, is a lupus patient who came up with what she calls the spoon theory. And I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. Say every opportunity that you have during your day, like making coffee, taking a shower, having clean clothes, doing your grocery shopping, going to work, typing up an email. Every little thing that you do each day, even like for me, it would be like walking up the step. There are 3 steps to my apartment, and I have all kinds of disabilities in my knees. And it is really difficult and painful for me to walk up those 3 steps. So that for me would be 1 spoon. Walking up the steps would be 1 spoon. Doing dishes. It's hard for me to do dishes because it requires me to lean over the sink to wash over, and we don't have a dishwasher. So in order for me to wash dishes by hand, I have to lean over the sink. Well, I have a herniated disc in my back, and it hurts like a mofo. I'm telling you right now, it is painful for me to do dishes. So that's another spoon. And then just looking at myself in the mirror, I absolutely hate the way I look. I hate the weight I've gained. I hate my body. I hate the way clothes fit on me. I hate the fact that I am so slow. I'm slow to walk. I'm slow to talk. Everything takes me 10 times longer than it did 4 years ago. Well, that's another spoon. This last spoon represents all of the hoops that I have to jump through just to prove to SSDI that I am disabled enough to collect an insurance policy that I paid into during my working years. And I am critiqued on and over and over again for 3 years. I have to play this game. I have to go see the service providers that they want me to see. They want to see a pattern, a constant pattern of care where I am receiving receiving medical care and psychiatric care. Well, I don't want to be a drug addict, and the mental health therapist that I saw was completely worthless. And so I'm not going to do that. I don't have enough money, and I don't have enough energy to keep constantly going to all of these doctor's appointments. I don't have it. That is my last spoon. That is my last spoon. And there it goes. I am all out of spoons. And these are all things that normal, healthy civilians take for granted. So what do you do when you run out of spoons? That is the question. So my grown-up Christmas wish is to make sure that if you need a spoon and I have a spoon, let's just make sure that nobody runs out of spoons. If you see someone who needs a spoon, give them a spoon. Metaphorically, of course. I don't mean a real one. I got 5 spoons for 2 people. I'm doing good. So this brings us to the next line in the song. And everyone would have a friend. Well, you have to be a friend to have a friend. So try to be a friend to everyone you meet, even if it's just a smile. Try not to take out if you're having a bad day, try not to take it out on somebody else. If you see an employee who is working hard, even if I get that the service is slow, and I get that they're short-staffed, and I can see them trying. They are trying their best. Please have patience. Please be kind. So this is the trick question, or the trick lyric. And right would always win. So here's the problem. Xi Jinping thinks he's right. Vladimir Putin thinks he's right. Joe Biden thinks he's right. And Donald Trump thinks he's right. So who's right and who's wrong? That's why we have critical thinking. So improve your critical thinking skills, and that will help you decide right from wrong. But heaven only knows that packages and bows can never heal a hurting human soul. Well, neither can all of the philanthropic work done by all of these companies that screw over their employees and their customers 364 days a year, and then all of a sudden on Christmas they're Santa Claus. And I'm talking about like Bill Gates and George Soros and Hillary Clinton. And it's what you do in the mundane world when nobody's looking that counts. And if you're only philanthropic when people are watching, that doesn't heal a hurting human soul. We should be looking in our own lives. Like, what are we doing on a day-to-day basis to make life better or worse for our fellow human? Think about retail workers and restaurant workers. Because Eddie and I eat out way too often, and I admit that's a big reason why I've gained so much weight. But anyhow, regardless, the way I see people treating retail workers and restaurant workers is just despicable. And then I always try to say please and thank you, and I try to show my appreciation to people. And I can get a little snippy sometimes, and I really try to make sure that I let the person know I'm not angry with you personally. I'm just angry because Venmo is a piece of shit company. But that's not the fault of the customer service representative who's trying to help me. But just if you're out and about this holiday season, please say please and thank you. Be patient, be kind. Don't be jealous or boastful. What is it? Love is patient, love is kind, love is never jealous or boastful. Love is higher than a mountain, love is thicker than water. That was Andy Gibb. So here's the Bible verse that I was quoting earlier. It's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, and this is the New International Version. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. I totally didn't need that last one, did I? That didn't work. But anyhow. So what is your grown-up Christmas list? Tell me about it in the comments below. I'd like to know what does success look like to you? If we were to have peace on earth, what would that really look like? Tell me in the comments below. You've been watching the Rivervine YouTube channel. I am your host, author Gwen Elise Clayton. If you found this video entertaining or informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more news, features, and commentary. If you're interested in my books, they can be found on Amazon. And if you would like to support me financially, I can be found at patreon.com/Rivervine. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.